Hey guys, we're gonna go into we're gonna talk about lighting still for a little bit. There's gonna be no questions on this chapter. This is gonna be I may have two questions on the end, maybe one or two, maybe three. I don't know. But this I want to talk about some other stuff about lighting. Okay, so um, I gotta be able to see this here. Uh, so in order for you guys to figure out when you troubleshoot lighting, it sometimes can be a pain. You know, you go in there, is it the bulb? Is it the light? Is it electricity? Is it the fixture? Is it the ballast? Like, you don't know what is going on. So, how do you tell, like, how do you tell the lamp life, right? So, at the end of a lamp life, the voltage requirements of the lamp exceeds the output of the ballast. The usual failure mode for mercury low light failures is, and for metal halide lights, lamp operating instability or cycling. It'll go on and off. Replace the end lamp light as dictated by the lamp provider. So if a lamp says 5 years, you're going to get, you're lucky if you get 5 years. If a lamp says, and you'll get a lot of this, good for 22 years, good for 30 years, good for 40 years, and it's all crap because half the time you definitely aren't. I'm not seeing 22 years out of an LED bulb, um, unless you get a really good one. So what if you got the incorrect lamp? The lamp wattage, the voltage has to be checked against the fixture. So if that ballast says it's good for two 32-watt T8s, you can't put 40-watt T12s in there. All right. So a light fixture and a ballast is rated. So, I mean, this is really simple. You look at the ballast, you look at what it says, you look at what type bulbs go with that ballast. It'll show you 2 bulbs with a ballast, 3 bulbs with a ballast, 4 bulbs with a ballast, and you put them in. If you go over and you replace 4 bulbs in that ballast, and 2 of them still aren't working, you probably have a bad output of the ballast. You're going to check your connections, and you probably have a bad output of the ballast. You're going to take your other bulbs out that are working and put those in just to verify that those bulbs are good. You're going to check your connections, your pins, where they connect to the lamps, make sure they're making a good connection, make sure all the wiring is done properly, and then you're going to end up replacing the ballast. And ballasts aren't that expensive. You just got to remember when you're replacing a ballast that you turn off the power to the ballast because you'll get blasted pretty good. So it's only 110 going in, or it might be a 277 ballast, whatever you're working on. You want to shut power down. You do not want to be changing them live. So, I mean, when I say that, sometimes the computers are on with the lighting circuit and you can't turn off the lights. So you want to carefully make sure you got your gloves on. You want to take a breath, get on your ladder, fiberglass ladder, make sure you're not touching anything. Take that hot wire part and cap it off. Take the neutral part and cap it off. And then you're working on a dead ballast because you got your main feed coming in. And that main feed coming in, you'll hook up last, right? Um, an open capacitor. So how do you know, like, the result of an electrical failure? Capacitor will be bulged or distorted. So if you got a capacitor and it's bulged out or distorted, it means it went bad. Okay. And there's different ways to test the capacitor, but I won't get into that. Um, will be a little bit. Defective starter. The function of a starter is to provide high voltage pulse to ignite the temperature, to ignite the lamp. To test, replace with a good known lamp. So if you got a light fixture that has a starter in it and you put a lamp in and if the lamp's not lighting, you replace it with a brand new bulb. And if that bulb isn't lighting still, then you pull a little, it's a starter, it just turns and pops out. It's round, it's about maybe this big around, maybe an inch and a half long. They're usually silver for starters. They screw into the light fixture. So if you get a bulb, so those are the things you want to look for: starter, What do you want to look for in a bulb? So on a bulb, uh, um, you look for the brown, black ends of the bulb. When the ends get really brown and they get really black on the ends, you know your lamps are probably bad. Okay. Um, so you'll get bad. Um, they'll be burnt. They'll be burnt and they'll be black. They'll be flickering, and you won't be able to get them to go. Um, and ballasts, you're just going to replace the ballasts. Like I said, ballasts are cheap, and you got to make sure that you're getting the exact ballast that comes with that. Don't just assume, oh yeah, I got a light fixture here with ballast. Now they make a universal ballast. Like you can say to somebody, okay, what do you got? Well, I got a 4 bulb fixture. There's 4 bulbs in it. Okay, what voltage is it? It's 240, 277, or 120. Well, they make a universal ballast. It's a universal ballast. It's good for 120 to 277. You put that ballast in, you buy it, you make sure it's a 4 bulb ballast if you're replacing it with a 4 bulb ballast, or you got a 2 bulb ballast, whatever. You get the ballast. If you can't get a 2 bulb, say you got a 2 bulb light fixture, if you can't get a 4 bulb, you can use a 4 bulb ballast for a 2 bulb fixture. You just got to reconfigure the wiring for what you're doing for those two to light up and cap the other leads off. But you can't go the other way because the ballast won't have enough power to run all 4 lights. So, and then you put your ballast in and you set it and you make sure it's for, what bulbs it's for. It's a little different when you're replacing a ballast in an HID fixture or a high pressure sodium, the old school ones that are on the side of the building, or a metal halide, or a mercury vapor. Any of those, you're going to open them up and they're going to have a big ballast inside, and they're going to have a couple capacitors inside. You want to take your phone, take a little picture of the capacitor caps and how everything wires, so you don't get yourself mixed up, or mark them with tape, or keep yourself a little number booklet, and have a number booklet where you can mark them, where you can know when you take that apart, you can put it back together. And then as you're putting it together, learn how it goes into the capacitor and it goes out of the capacitor, and the capacitor is something that stores a charge to ignite the bulb. And know where your neutral goes, and when you get the new ballast for these fixtures, it's going to have a neutral. There might be 7 wires, 5 wires, 6 wires coming off of it. One will say common, one will say or one will say common, one will say 120, one will say 240, one will say 277, one will say 208, one will say 120. So you're going to have all those possibilities of a ballast, and depending on how you wire that ballast to the light is how it's going to work. So you want to make sure you get the right wire, clip the right wire, strip the white wire, and hook up the wire to whatever voltage is there in your ballast. Alright, so I'm going to ask you a couple questions. How do you know that when you're looking at a light fixture and the light's sitting there flickering, how do we know, what is the first thing, how would you know if the bulbs were bad? Would you look up and the bulbs are different color, the bulbs are flickering on and off, or the bulbs have blackened ends? Which one would tell you that the bulbs were bad? If you have question number 2, if you had a light fixture with 2 bulbs in it, or with 4 bulbs in it, a light fixture with 4 bulbs in it, can I put a new ballast in it that is a 2-bulb ballast? Yes or no? And number 3, before you change the ballast and you put the 4 new bulbs in it to make sure it's not the bulbs, you're going to put 4 new bulbs regardless in when you change the ballast. So when you're going to change a ballast in somebody's lights, you might as well get 4 new bulbs. So before you change that ballast and you put the 4 bulbs in, what are you going to do? What are you going to check for before you change the ballast? If you put 4 bulbs in and 2 bolts aren't working, what are you going to check for? All right, guys, so that was the end of that chapter. So I just wanted to talk about it. And and remember, lighting, the lower the number, the yellower, the more soft the color. Like this, if you you can't really see the lighting, but this daylight is a high number, like 4,000 or 5,000. Comfortable mood lighting would be around 2,800 to 3,000. So the lower the number, the more mood lighting you have, the higher the number. So when you guys are buying something to put in your house, your bedroom, or something cool, you want to make sure you pay attention to the color retention. All right. Okay, guys, I'm going to put another one out there. That one's for today, and I'm going to put another one out on here, and we're going to go on to the next chapter, which is going to be conductors. Oh, I'm sorry, conduit bending. We're going to conduit bending with the big bender. All right. Okay, guys, have a good day.